ये देखो क्या हुआ। हरीश शेट्टी नाम तो आ रहा है।
वो ब्रेकफास्ट लेकर गया है ना।
हाँ
ब्रेकफास्ट लेकर गया है ना,
मतलब
नाश्ता लेकर गया है।
ये नाम screen
अच्छा
पे-
अच्छा, हमने तो शायद वो भी
हाँ
शेट्टी। लिंक पे आपने क्लिक कर दिया।
मीरा ने जो लिंक शेयर किया था वो ही है। हाँ क्या करूं।
यहाँ रिपीट कर लीजिए।
या मैम क्या मुझे सुनाई नहीं दिया क्या बोल रहे थे?
Ma'am, why is my name coming Harish Shetty? So I'm just leaving from here and I'm joining again in somewhere.
या
हो गया। हाँ हाँ okay. You can hear me right, all of you?
यस मैम यू आर ऑडिबल।
Okay, okay. Thank you. Hello. Hello, can you all see me?
Yes, ma'am. You are visible and audible.
Okay, because I can't see others. Silly, I'm sorry.
नहीं, you are audible and visible.
And so others screens are off or what? मतलब it is. No. Okay, now I.
मुझे सारा दिख रहा है.
Ah,
In 2 minutes we will start.
okay.
Let Daksh and all join. Daksh, Zainul, please switch on your cameras now. Suresh, Harshad sir. So, good morning all. Zainul, all ready? Daksh?
Yes, we all are ready over here.
Okay. So, let us start the program.
Daksh.
Good morning, future urbanists and future leaders of the urban design community. Good morning, students. Thank you for joining Risby College of Architecture's outreach program. For the outreach program, we have esteemed panelists, including Professor Rekha Desai, Principal, Risby College of Architecture, Professor M.Arch, Vice Principal, Risby College of Architecture, Professor Harshad Bhatia, Distinguished Faculty, Professor Daksh Jain, Ms. Swati Palekar, Senior Librarian. We also have alumni of RCA UD program, Ms. Nikita Purohit, Mr. Burhan Patel, and Ms. Jinisha Ludia. Lastly, we have Zainul BVG, who will be introducing the panelists. So welcome all. Before we proceed to main program, Professor Rekha Desai wishes to greet and welcome you all. Over to Professor Rekha Desai.
Professor Rekha Desai is the principal of Rizvi College of Architecture. She is a bachelor's of architecture from MS University, Baroda, and also has a master's degree in environmental science. She has a professional experience of more than 20 years and academic experience of more than 15 years. Rekha ma'am?
Yeah. Hello. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to all of you. So, yeah, we will be, I think we have all the esteemed people who will be talking about the course. So I just wanted to say that we as the Risby College of Architecture, we are 32-year-old institution, and our master's program is also going on since more than 12-15 years. And we have faculties who have very rich national and international professional experience in the college. And we look forward to having all the students who are aspiring to do their urban design or who are aspiring to be urban designers. So we look forward to all of you being in college, and I'm sure the college offers a lot of facilities. We have one of the best libraries in our college, and also the experience. I'm sure these alumni will be sharing their experiences of doing their masters at our college. We have Harshad sir, who has been with our college since last maybe 12, 13 years. And Meera ma'am, who is heading the department, she is also a very experienced teacher also, and urban planner. And we have other faculties who are dedicated and dedicated faculties, and we are really working towards making this course better and better year after year. And we are experimenting a lot with new pedagogies. We are also in the pipeline of organizing an international student exchange program where the master students will be a part of it. We are still in talks with the work going on with the Austrian and Hungarian universities. So we are always, as Rizvi College of Architecture, we are continuously experimenting and bringing the best of education and best of learnings to all the students. And yeah, we look forward to having more ideas and more explorations from other faculties also, which I think today is not the platform which we should be talking about it, but we are continuously experimenting, and we look forward to having you all as RISB students. And yeah, I will now hand it over to the others people, because there is lots to be talked about and I'll not take much of your time. But you can always reach out to us at RISB College of Architecture for any other further information, and we will be happy to even engage you and show you around if you have any queries. So over to you, Meera ma'am or Zen. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rekha ma'am. I'd like to now introduce Professor Meera Malegaonkar. She is the head of department at RISB College of Architecture Urban Design to introduce today's outreach program. Just a small brief on Professor Meera. Professor Meera is a Bachelor's of Architecture from VNIT Nagpur. She has a master's degree in urban and regional planning, and she is also a master's of urban management and development, specialization at urban economic development. She was a NUFIC fellow at Erasmus University, Rotterdam, Netherlands. She has more than 25 years of professional experience, and she has also spearheaded diverse urban development and architectural projects. Meera ma'am? Meera ma'am, you are on mute.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Zainul, for introducing me. And welcome again. As all you are aware, RISB College of Architecture conducts master's program in urban design. The M.Arch Urban Design is full-time on-campus program. The course is affiliated to Mumbai University and approved by Council of Architecture. The admission process is administered by CET cell of Maharashtra government. The dates of CET has been announced as 30th April 2023. As we gather here today, it is clear that we are living in time of unprecedented change and uncertainty. Cities around the world are facing wide range of challenges, from climate change to inequality to social unrest. But with these challenges comes opportunities to rethink the way we design our cities, to create more livable, sustainable, and equitable communities. That is why I am thrilled to welcome you all to this online outreach event. We will be exploring the master's program in urban design at RISB College of Architecture. This program at the forefront of new approach to urban design, one that is focused on the people-centric urbanism using innovative methods and modern analytical tools. We also dwell into cutting-edge curriculum and the innovative ideas driving the program. This program is designed to equip you with the skills and knowledge you need to become a leader in the field, to drive the change and shape the future of our cities. But this event is not just about what we are offering. We are here to hear you, the next generation of urban designers. We want to hear your ideas, your questions, and your aspirations. Our panelists include leading voices in the field, including our students, alumni, faculty members who are shaping the future of our cities through their work. They will share their experiences and insights on the program and the opportunities available to the graduates of this program. With this outreach session, you may understand if the Masters in Urban Design is right career choice for you. The outreach session will address following points. What is Master Design about? What are the career pathways after Master in Urban Design? Professor Harshad Bhatia will discuss this point. Then what is the program and curriculum of this course? How does RCA approach to the program adds the value to the prescribed university course? Hear from Professor Mayuresh Gore. Is this course recognized in India? Yes, of course. What are the admission process? What is the admission process? No more from Swati and Daksh Jain. So let us get started. I will invite now distinguished faculty, Professor Harshad Bhatia sir, to present his reflection on the training and profession of urban design. But before that, I'll request Zainul to introduce Professor Bhatia. Over to Zainul.
Architect Harshad Bhatia is a skilled urban designer, architect, acoustics intellectual, educator, and writer-editor based in Mumbai, India. He was a student laureate in graduate and postgraduate semesters in his university time, University of Mumbai, and he has also done his master's from the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi. Now a solo practitioner, since 1986, his firm has dealt with wide range of products. Currently also a tenured professor at Rizvi College of Architecture, Mumbai, board member and visiting teacher at other educational institutions. He is an innovative communicator and author of Becoming Hafiz Contractor, The Making of an Architect, published by HarperCollins India. He has also received awards for Best Teacher of Urban Design by MASA, Maharashtra Association of Schools of Architecture, and is also conferred upon as the Distinguished Professor of Acoustics by the Vivekanand Education Society. Harshad Bhatia, sir.
Thank you, Zainul. Thank you, Rekha, Meera. You all have laid the foundation. What I intend to do is not speak, but show you some visuals so that I'm able to convey to you the message across through the presentation. Can we stop sharing that screen? Yep. What I'm showing you here is the connection. I have been there. I've been a student of urban design. I've also been teaching urban design for quite a few years now. So I've been there and done that. This is a conventional view of teacher-student education, the way I make the connection between teacher and student. Remember this diagram because I'm going to come back to this in a different way in the presentation. There was a time in the 20th century when we used the word essence. Now, in the 21st century, we are using the word e-sense for electronic medium. So I'm going to take you through the essence of urban design. It could be environment, ecology, economy, electorate, elective, etc. The word E is proliferating now. So I'm going to speak from experience rather than showing you work. I want to show you what we do in the course through some headings and titles. And that should give you an idea about what you're going to learn in the subject of urban design. I've also gone there and seen that. Having been involved in the development plan of Greater Mumbai 2034, and also having a practice of architecture, I'm trying to make that connection again. And what I get over here is urban design, which actually comes from architecture, because your basic qualification required to be an urban designer to join the course is Bachelor of Architecture. Whereas in planning, you have other streams also joining that course. But what an urban designer does is he bridges this gap. So I'm going to show you an example. And remember the AR, CHI, and UR are words which I'm intentionally clubbed together because architecture, there's more architecture in a planning project. There's one planning project of a town. There are many more projects for architects there. Similarly, urban design tries to bridge this. Let me give you an example. What you see here is a visual of the Amazon River seen from the sky as it meets the ocean. So what you have is the river, and down below you have the ocean. How does this water come? It comes through the raindrops. So the raindrops are all of us. We are the individuals, humans who come as raindrops. And when we come collectively, we become the ocean. So the scales of urban design are not limited to either individual or collective. They cover the entire range. And when you look at the two sides, on one bank is planning, which is closer to the collective scale of population. On the other bank is architecture, which is closer to the individual and the group scale of population, providing shelter for them. Now, what you have here is you have planning and architecture, which have taken space. What urban design does is that it flows like the river. It makes place. While you have these two other disciplines which are already taking place, urban design is going to make place. And the word place comes only after you actually look at it from the people's point of view. So an urban designer's perception is very different from planning and architecture. However, what we do in the course is we have due respect for every profession. What we are seeing here is the scope of application. What on the left is the scale, spatial, these are various criteria. And when you start looking at architecture and planning, you see urban design comes and in between the two banks of the river. As an example, look at primarily, I say it's three-dimensional is architecture, two-dimensional is planning. However, it is long-term. Urban design is four-dimensional, where the third dimension and the dimension of time is added. Disciplinary-wise also, urban design is more closer to acoustics, it's transdisciplinary. So when you go through this, once you join the course, I will expose you to how to really read each of these disciplines, for each of them has a role to play in the making of human settlements. None of them are competing. In fact, they are all complementing each other. This is what we do when we teach urban design in WISB. This is the most important way in which we look at projects over here. The urban designer perception is to take a distanced view of the closed part. So if you have a project which has got the individual scale, you also look at it from the distance. You see how the individual fits into the collective realm. Or you look at the closer look of the distant whole. So if you have a regional project, you start zooming in up to the human scale within that. So this is the urban designer perception which we try to bring out in our course over here. Many people ask, how do you define urban design? Urban design is defined generally according to the context and the situation. So you give me a situation and I'll be able to give you the definition. When we teach urban design, we don't just look at ground level or eye level or above eye level. We look at all these aspects. We go all the way up to geology, everything which is to do even underground. We go inside, outside. So your learning in architecture is not kept aside. It is included in this 2-year course of urban design. From experience, I have seen conservation. I've been involved in both conservation and development. The word here is and. It is not conservation versus development. There is no either or. Over here, we look at it with this balance of conservation and development. Within conservation, again, we go further into the subgroups. On one side, I've got the natural, and the other side, I've got the built man-made. We have to look at each of them for who they are rather than looking at the built man-made with the natural angle of trying to keep it. Built is going to be changing forever. It's exchangeable. Natural is going to be something which you will not be able to change, so it is irreplaceable. We make these distinctions through the projects which we handle in the course. Another experience is about development. Within that, you have the two extremes of indigenous and the planned. Again, the word is and. It is not one or the other. So when I look at development, the common word used is native, whereas the actual term should be indigenous. One side you have the indigenous, the other you have the outline, which is the plan. One is evolving, the other is organizing. And as you go along this flow in the course, in the 4 semesters, through experience, I have realized that if you're dealing with an indigenous settlement, then you have to learn to live in balance with nature. But if you're living in the city, if you're doing a project in a town or a settlement which is habitable, then it has to be done with equilibrium because it's constantly changing. We also experience you to associational thinking and policy formulation. I am talking from experience in practice outside as an urban designer. We do not slot ourselves into a particular stagnant pool of water. We are constantly flowing like the river. We change with the times. And we also take some of the banks along with us when we are going along that street, that particular stretch. So associational thinking, for example, we talk about systems, links, connections, and also flows. And these are the sub folders within each of these, which we try to address through the projects over here. And I bring in my experience through examples when we are teaching. So in flows, we look at the now, but we also look at the past and we look at the propose ahead. So we are keeping that in mind in every aspect in all the works that we do over here. Policy formulation is something which you don't really see in terms of a design on paper with a built form. This is where we raise the issue of what sort of a policy, preventive, restrictive, prescriptive. We talk about controls, guidelines. This is something which is missing at the two banks of the river, the architectural scale and the planning scale. Urban design is actually flowing continuously, covering both the banks at the same time. And therefore, you don't need to build bridges because you are touching both the sides at the same time. I'm coming back to that architecture term. Now, AR is for architect. Our teachers are the ones who have informed themselves. So the effective teacher is the learner who survived. Most of us, we look at the students with their creativity also, but we also bring in that childlike curiosity. So we also encourage innovation. The perceptive urban designer is the human who survived. We have a very humane approach to urban design in the course. The diversity of all this is immense if you join this course. And I want to take you through this diagram in a different way now. I've removed the word student and I put the word learner. And now you look at the way education goes. It's no longer a flat structure. It is being here doing that. And this is my way of teaching. I reach higher. I've gone one step above than the flat education. So this is reaching higher by learning. We invite you to join this course. And throughout the 2 years, you will be keeping this in mind that you're able to go reach for higher goals. Some quotations which I am putting from experience. The field of urban design is wide and varied. Urban design is always the present, which connects the past with the future. Urban design is now. Urban design is both vision directing and problem solving. It is also exploratory in design and delving in research. Urban design is good and original. Urban design is like a river. It flows from origin to destination and covers both banks along the journey. Urban design is life-giving. Urban design is about setting the balance between society and nature. It is about habitation of humans in the context of the environment. Urban design is impractical. Urban design exists in the public realm. It is the marker of progress in a humane habitat. Urban design is about both protection and production. This is the way you have to look at your field. You may find it difficult that you don't have space. You have to now make place. So just a recap on the river in a symbolic way, the human individual to the human collective, the population scales, the raindrop to the ocean, and then you have urban design, which is flowing like the river. And the philosophy in the school is to flow in the river rather than be stagnant in a pool of having one particular approach to how you're going to deal with the. So each of our batches over the last 10, 13 years have got a different approach. And you will find that that is not inconsistent, but that is the quality of consistency which we keep, that we are constantly evolving, constantly changing. We keep people first in mind. There is no urban design without people. So ban design if you're not going to put people first. So who is missing over here? What you see here is a quality of space of the building and outside it. So who is missing here? And I would say you are. The moment you add you are, it becomes urban design. This is the way I look at urban design, that it is designed for the people, keeping in mind the quality of life. So I'm looking forward to seeing you here soon. Be here, do it. Before time passes by, I pass by. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harsha sir. It was wonderful presentation and I feel like joining this course again. Thank you very much. Now I invite Professor Mayuresh Gore to present the urban design pedagogy. But before that, I request Professor Zainul to introduce Mayuresh.
Professor Mayuresh Gore is an urban designer, associate professor, and former HOD of Urban Design Department at D.Y. Patil College of Architecture, and he is now currently the vice principal of Rizvi College of Architecture. A few words about Professor Mayuresh Gore. He has worked in collaboration with agencies like Spark, State Management Unit for Rural Housing, and Tata Institute of Social Sciences, that's TIS. He has also been a part of Tactical Urbanism Initiative by NCGM, and he has been part of several such programs and collaborations. Over to you, Professor Mayuresh.
Thank you so much, Zainul and Meera. Thank you so much for introducing me. I hope I'm audible. Zainul, can we just stop sharing so that I can share my screen? Yeah. So I'm going to talk about basically the entire pedagogy of urban design course and how we deal with it in Rizvi College of Architecture. At the same time, you should also be aware that what you are going to study as part of this curriculum. So yes,
Your screen is not visible.
sorry, yeah, I will put it up. Just a moment. Can you see my screen now? Yeah. So basically, I'm going to talk about the syllabus and I will let you know what are the parts and the contributions in the syllabus. What are you going to study for next 2 years when you choose this subject? It is not just about understanding the syllabus, or it is not just about knowing what is there in the syllabus, but you have to actually understand the nature of working and why these subjects have been put over here in the university syllabus and how Rizvi College of Architecture also looks. First and foremost, let us be very clear that we thoroughly follow the syllabus which has been proposed by the University of Mumbai. So as you see my diagram over here, this is a diagram which is made for the students to understand the syllabus working. So there are two sides to it. One, if you see the straight line, on the right hand side, you will see the compulsory. On the left hand side, you will see the choice based. And on the extreme right, you will see the semesters which have been proposed. That is semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, and semester 4. Now let us understand the keywords. The keywords are core, core studio, studio, electives. Then again, so on and so forth. We have the same names. So now what is core? Basically, these are the subjects which you need to understand to design and understand urban design. So these are the subjects through which you realize the physicality and the theoretical part of it. When we go ahead, you will understand what are the contributions of the subject as well. Then second is core studio, core/studio, and studio. Now, studio is something that is very important for all of us. As we are architects, we already know the importance of studio that architectural design studio works upon. So similarly, you will have a project-based working where you will put in all the ideologies and put in all the references and put in all the effective understanding that you have learned through the core and your electives. Now, what is elective? Elective is basically why there is something called as compulsory elective and choice-based elective. You have to understand that also. Initially, you will have certain kind of push from the institution from us, that is the faculties, that what kind of electives are required for your development. So that is why college decides upon a certain kind of elective which you will have to get into and learn. But when you come to the next semester, the trajectory is where students will be given more and more and more choices with the electives, and you can select those electives and create your own pathway for understanding. Similarly, when you come to the second semester, your core subjects are again two core subjects, which is planning techniques and procedures and transportation and traffic of urban design. Again, once we go ahead, I will explain what are these subjects. Now, here we start with something called as research methodology. Research methodology is something which is in sync with your basic thesis. So where you start devising your thesis. What is thesis? How to go about with the thesis? All these questions which start coming up with the students. Already in undergraduation, you are already working upon thesis. Already in undergraduation, you are understanding design dissertations. And in design dissertation, you also have studied something called as research methodology. Then what is this research methodology all about? So again, the explanation will come. And then as we go down, you have two core subjects, one core studio and then studio. And then last is studio, only studio in the last semester. This is where you will only work upon your thesis and you will have elective session, which will be kind of helpful for your thesis. So as we move ahead, there is this explanation of each and every subject which you are going to go through. For example, urban design history. What is urban design history? So mind you, first and foremost, let me make this very clear that this is not something that we have going and define or we are going to say that this is something special that we are teaching. No, university syllabus says that this is what you're going to learn. This is just an extract of that syllabus that we have made so that you understand it in a gist. So urban design history, morphing the cityscapes, determining the correct course of action, theory and methods of urban design. This is very important subject as urban design history is, where you will start realizing that why urban design requires a certain kind of theoretical framework. And there are so many urbanists, there are so many urban designers, there are so many ecologists, environmentalists, conservation architects, or let us call them conservationists or social scientists. There are so many fields who have written about the city, and we have to know what have they written and what do they talk about and how do they read the city. And this is where we start reading. What is reading is something that once you come to the course, you will understand what is the reading of an area. Then there is also something called as planning techniques and procedures. Planning technique and procedure is a course which as Harshad sir had already shown the basic trajectory of urban design, where it comes between architecture and planning. This is the subject which talks about several aspects of physical planning, and it teaches you how physical planning works. So these three subjects become the core of physicality and understanding the physicality. At the same time, once you start moving ahead, we have landscape design and urban ecology. Now, this is a subject which is, I think, one of the most precious subjects that one should know and understand, where there was a core / studio, where you will also have a studio, and this is a core subject, is because you should know that now ecosystem and ecology has become the primary focus of our survivability, and that is how it becomes one of the most engaging topic. Then you have urban design studio, similar to architectural design studio, where every aspect comes together as a closure and comes into it, and it is as equivalent to as designing. So we learn how to do mapping, and we use the mapping sessions, we use the theories, and we use the physical planning sessions, and we start looking into the designing part. Again, compulsory elective, usually we start with several representation skills so that you can understand how representation is done for urban design. And this is one of the electives that we emphasize upon. Then second elective explores on the technological advancement in the field of mapping. So we try to teach softwares related to that. Again, coming to second semester, we go into the advanced part of planning techniques, where now we are looking at administration in more detail. Then we have transportation and traffic in urban design, which is again something that one needs to understand how our city really works when it comes to movement system and mobility. So, and again, university proposes and comes up with an exam over there. So you have to go through the exam. Then we have research methods. Research methods, as I said earlier, is really important because it starts exploring the idea and constructing methodological framework and makes you understand what actually urban design thesis is and how do I understand urban design thesis? What do I decide upon as my framework? What do I research upon? Why am I supposed to research upon? So research methodology creates that curve for you. Then again, Urban Design Studio 2, it goes one notch higher where you now look at comprehensive plannings, you look at larger fundamentals, you look at larger theories, now your area levels have increased, your scope of looking at area designs have increased, and so on and so forth. Now, choice-based elective 1 and choice-based elective 2 are something which college proposes from the perspective of skill development and studio development. So we will kind of again bring a platter of electives to you and you can decide upon which elective you want to go through. Then we have semester 3 where this is one of the this is a subject which I enjoy a lot, which is called as development finance. The basic reason behind it is that we always have to understand that being an architect, so if you remember Harshit sir's diagram, which he had shown where he was talking about value and then how urban design looks at it, how planning looks at it, how architect looked at several situations. In all the situations, there is something where we really need to understand that economics and finance play a very important role. Without economics and finance, we will not be able to gauge why certain things in the city work the way they work and why administration works the way they work. So you must have already, I hope most of you have kept your eyes open with the existing budget, the last budget which was proposed. So at that point of time, we need to understand the budget. We need to understand all these situations, why they are arising and why and how do they really kind of affect our designing skills. So then comes to Urban Design Studio 3, where again, it goes in a certain different direction. It can be renewal, it can be several different scope of works where now you need to understand that you have learned the first 2 years and you know how to read the city. Now this comes where urban bylaws become very, very, very prominent and you start engaging yourself with that. Then last is where we come to the last semester, which is thesis. So there is thesis 1, sorry, before we go down, there's thesis 1. Thesis 1 is again the second step towards your thesis. In thesis 1, we expect you to kind of have your thesis at place, have your research topics at place, and build around those research topics. And semester 4, again, we come down to thesis 2, where you are actually going to present your thesis. So this is the syllabus. Then comes the pedagogy diagram, which is again how the trajectory actually helps you. If you read the legend, we have urban administration, management, and legislation, then urban design and theory, urban design representation skills, urban design research, and urban design practice. Every semester emphasizes on this particular format, and we as Rizvi College, we start pushing you towards those format, where we will emphasize in first year more towards urban design and theory. And urban design representation skills will be introduced, urban design administration will be introduced. In second semester, if you look at it, you will go through urban design administration has increased its height. Urban design representation has increased its height. There is an introduction to urban design representation and urban design practice. And urban design theory has increased its height. So now you understand what is the emphasis and what skills are going to be enhanced. So left-hand side is where your skills are getting enhanced and enhanced. And on the right-hand side, again, your understanding is getting enhanced. So emphasis and enhancement. So there is an emphasis on urban administration, management, and legislation. There is emphasis on urban design theory. In the third semester, all the blocks are going really high because this is a very crucial semester where administration knowledge is and management knowledge is getting completely engaged with urban design, and theory is escalating. Urban design research now is playing at both the ends, where you are also becoming a researcher. We are emphasizing you to become a researcher as well. And we are also enhancing your researching skills and urban design practicing skills. So last semester is where you will be completely thoroughly uh, brought out as either you can choose to be an urban design researcher, or you can choose to be an urban design uh, practitioner. This is how, or you can be both, or I don't think so there is any kind of difference between a researcher and practitioner. It's up to you what you want to pursue. So don't think that there are two ends to it. Don't think that this is different and this is different. No, it is how we look at it from the perspective that there is this emphasis and there is this enhancement. So if you emphasize on your research, you will enhance as a practitioner. That is what we are actually kind of trying to tell you. So again, if you go through our brochures, you will find how emphasis and enhancement work in every semester. So this is just a small overview of how urban design studio looks like. I don't want to explain everything out of this because it's a huge studio where there is a lot of discussion that takes place, but just to understand the kind of drawings, the kind of work which college produces, and this is the studio work that college produces. Then we have a thesis where your individual researches are taking shape. This is one of the students in past whose thesis we are just showing how questions were made, how keywords were taken into consideration, and how thesis took place. And this is where we are also showing that we take participation in different competitions and different platforms, and we try to propose to them. Anyways, this is from my end. Thank you, Meera. Thank you, Zainul, for giving me the opportunity to talk on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Mayuresh.
Sorry, I just need to stop sharing this.
I'd now like to introduce two distinguished panelists, Mrs. Swati Palekar and Professor Daksh Jain. So firstly, about Mrs. Swati Palekar, she's a librarian at Rizvi College of Architecture. She's an MSc in Physical Chemistry. Mrs. Swati Palekar is working in the field of library and information science for more than 20 years and is associated with Rizvi College of Architecture for more than a decade now. She's being a part of admission counseling process for Rizvi College. She possesses versatile experience in different types of libraries, also provides consultancy for various library projects. She has also worked as visiting lecturer for BLSIC, MLISC courses for different universities. In 2020, she was awarded as UCLEX Wall of Fame Award Architecture for 50 eminent librarians in India for the year 2020. Her major area of interest are information and communication technology and library standards. A small introduction about Professor Daksh Jain also. He's an architect, urban designer, and urban researcher. Trained as an architect and an urban designer, Professor Daksh Jain is currently working as an assistant professor at Rizvi College of Architecture. His interest travels in the domain of urban planning, urban design, heritage conservation, development finance, and policy framework. His recent publication is a book called Culture, Spaces, and People, Urban Dynamics in the Contemporary India under the publication of Routledge. Currently, he is working as an independent researcher on the topic digitalization in Global South. Over to you, Mrs. Swati Palekar and Professor Daksh.
So Daksh and Swati are going to present the admission process. Daksh, your screen is not visible yet. Over to Daksh.
Yeah, ma'am. Start.
Yeah. Yeah, hello. I started with the admission process. I'm just explaining the brief overview of the admission process. Regarding the eligibility norms, the first thing is that the person should be Indian national and he should possess the bachelor degree with the 50% for the open category and the 45% for reserve category. That includes the EWS, OBC, SC, ST, NT, everything. And that 50% marks is in our CGPA terms, it's roughly comes around 5.3 and above. And they should obtain the non-zero score in CET exams, which is held by the CET cell. Again, the NRI also the same criteria is applied. Now, how to apply? You have to go to the CET cell website. We have to go to the CET cell website. There is a currently the CET cell website page giving you the information about the brochure, about the syllabus and the date. Now, regarding the intake of our college, we have 20 seats for the urban designs. Out of that, which is 50% are reserved for the Muslim minority, which comes out around 10. 30% seats are for the Maharashtra state and all over India state. So there are total 6 seats and 20 seats are at the institute level. Now the documents whatever required is all the mark sheets starting from SSC, HSC and the B.Arch. All the 5 years mark sheets are required. Then the CET scorecard. Then the college living certificate or a transfer certificate. Transfer certificate is the required for those who are from the other than Mumbai University. And for the Mumbai University candidate, we required only the college living certificate. And the certificate of Indian nationality means it is a domicile, like it should states that you are the Indian. And for reserve category candidate, we required a caste certificate, caste validity certificate, and non-creamy layer certificate. Besides, these are the common criteria. Besides this, if the authorities ask any criteria, then we have to furnish that. Now, regarding the syllabus of the CET cell, Daksh will explain how to go about it.
Good morning, everyone. So regarding the CET's examination, the examination has 50 questions that are to be done in 60 minutes. Each question carries 2 marks and there is no negative marking within the exam. The exam is basically divided into 5 modules. The first module has building technology, questions from building technology, where building systems, services, material and construction, green building and materials are the parts that constitute building technology. Then we have environment, where the questions regarding ecology, landscape, and ecosystems are generally asked. The third part consists of architecture history and humanities, where questions regarding architectural history, theory, critique, philosophy, and arts and cultures are introduced. The fourth and fifth part are made up of settlement, design, and urban processes and current practice in architecture. So it includes questions based on urban design, urban planning, housing, construction management, project management, and it is also followed by questions from professional practice and town planning laws, BCR, and basic representation styles and categorizations. So in general, the paper consists of 50 marks, which is followed by so some colleges have the criteria of taking up the portfolios, while most of the colleges in Maharashtra do not take up the portfolio into the consideration. It's a multiple choice examination and there's no negative marking within the test. The tentative date for this year's set is is somewhere around 30th April. However, depending on the schedule and the dependency on the ongoing pandemic, the date can be shifted. And for the reference, books that you can refer to is Jamia M.Arch Entrance Guidebook for GATE 2023 Architecture and Planning, Architect's Guidebook for Competitive Exams by architect Swapnil Vidhate, Visual Dictionary of Architecture, and there are certain online course modules available with Career Avenue, which is an institute that provides coaching for GATE and MHCET to architecture students.
I'd now like to introduce architect Nikita Purohit, architect and urban designer Nikita Purohit. She's an alumni from the M.Arch batch of Rizvi of College of Architecture 2018-2020. She has done her architecture from MBM College of Engineering, Jodhpur. She's a practicing urban designer currently based out of Pune and working with Prasanna Desai Architects. Nikita? I think Nikita is unable to join in. So for the moment, we will move ahead to another alumni, another distinguished alumni of Rizvi College of Architecture, architect Burhan Patel. So architect Burhan Patel, urban designer and architect Burhan Patel has passed his M.Arch from a batch of 2018-2020. Burhan Patel is currently working with Padeco company in Bombay. A little bit about Burhan. He's an urban designer both from RCA and an academic professional experience in understanding Mumbai's social structure and infrastructure. He has worked with various government institutions like Konkan Town Planning Department, MCGM, PWD, and MMRDA. Currently, he is working for the Mumbai Railways Vikas Corporation for conducting a study or the assessment of crowding at Mumbai's suburban local railway stations. As a part of his social responsibility, he is also engaged with various NGOs that support the urban upliftment of people like Smart Commute Foundations, Ethos Empower, Ashaya, and Rotary Club of Bombay. Burhan, would you like to take over?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, Burhan.
Yeah. So, thank you for the introduction, Leonard sir. And it is a pleasure being a part of Rizvi College of Architecture. And so all these years, like it's been like so much favor to me that this college has offered me and helped to build my career in this way. And so currently now, I may say that this uh, urban design course has helped me groom in a way to understand the city morphology and where closely like I now see through a different lens of um, like how Harshad sir described, like to our course, he says that see the world through a different lens and how you have those different lenses and there's a different lens of the people, there's a different lens of the stakeholders. So that sort of quality that we describe as has been ingrained in our professional life and in our teaching life. So that has helped us a lot and throughout my journey wherever like I go, like I've been working with MMRDA, with MCGM, with the town planning department. Wherever I go, wherever I introduce myself, uh, uh, wherever I say like I'm from the Rizvi College of Architecture, there's just one name that everyone like has been common throughout my like throughout this part of my career that I've been gone, there's this one common name that whenever I say Rizvi College of Architecture, there's this like, oh, you're from Akhtar Sir's college. And this is the thing that has come up to my knowing that even though still he has like retired from Egypt, but Akhtar Chauhan, he has been a personality that shows that we are his students and he has taught us. And somewhere I feel that the faculties and the teachers still take inspiration and gain that part of whenever they are building their education structure, they somewhere they take those principles and make sure that they come up with that thinking of the mentality. And it has this because of architecture has that uh, uh, like whatever you can say, like how we have Dumbledore for Hogwarts, like we have Akhtar for the view of architecture. So that's all like I have to say. And also still being a part of college, like whenever I come and whenever I agree, I've also like the faculties and the teachers have always been very helpful. After my graduation, also they have helped me in understanding like where should I lean out my career, where should I understand what should be my respect, and wherever I get stuck or whenever I need help, like I go through them and I constantly have a chat with them. Also, the college also offers multidisciplinary people where they are from different backgrounds, from transportation, from conservation, and so that sort of connection that you get from different people is very helpful in your life, because in your career, because at some time like you would need help in your field, which would be a person who is an experience in other field. So that sort of connection in an initial academic level where you achieve that now, that you that helps in your career, that thing that develops in your career. So that's all from my side, Jaimin sir. Hello.
Thank you,
Thank
Burhan.
you very much, Burhan, for the lovely presentation and insights on your experience at Rizvi College of Architecture. I'd now like to move on to architect urban designer Nikita Purohit. She has just been able to join us back again. A small brief on architect Nikita Purohit. So she's an alumni of the M.Arch batch of Rizvi College of Architecture. She is from the batch of 2018-20. She's done her architecture, the graduation from MBM Engineering College, Jodhpur. She's an urban designer who is currently based out of Pune and is working with architect Prasanna Desai. Nikita?
Hello. Just let me catch my breath. I was commuting basically. So just a second, yeah. Hello, hi.
Hi, Nikita. Thanks for joining.
I'm so sorry. It was just
It's okay.
coinciding with my office hours, but I could not let this opportunity go, and therefore I wanted to be here. Okay, very good morning, everyone. So, urban designing at Rizvi has been a great experience for me. The whole purpose why I decided to get into urban design was my love for cities, exploring cities, learning about it, and that's all I knew before I started my journey as an urban at this college. But as soon as I got into it, the layers that we discovered one by one with the help of our mentors were literally breathtaking, eye-opening, and the dynamics by which a city is ruled, even a simplest parameter, culture, communities, people, politics, spaces, everything, nature, environment, even a simplest detail can change a lot in a city. And every of these aspects was put into detail by our mentors. So that has been a great experience. For me, the scale. The scale is a very important thing, as I feel, as we get into urban design. It can be overwhelming at times because getting from a site to talking about a city or a region or a place in a particular, it's a very different scale that you need to understand. And as much as I can recollect being an architect, it was more about my site, my client, my place, my building, my materials that I have used, and probably the client that I'm having is a middle class or a higher middle class or a rich businessman, whatsoever. But as soon as you get into this urban design realm, you don't talk about a person or about a family. You talk about a community. You talk about various people coming from different leagues, different business, different profession, gender, and you need to cater for all of them. At the same time, you need to see different dynamics, the environment, the nature. So you have to be a mediator at some place where you talk about the built environment for the people as well as you stand for the nature. So it has been a great experience learning at RISV because I joined in RISV as an aspirer and then an explorer. And at some point, as a bicycle counselor, I started with advocacy. And now at PDA, when I am working as a designer, all these leagues have been a very different experience for me. And my learnings at RISV has really helped me out throughout. So yes, and the journey is still not done. With RISV, I'm still learning day by day. I am always in contact with my mentors. And even if I am busy somewhere, I always find my mentor always contacting me. That's a very different thing that you won't find everywhere or anywhere as such. So yes, thank you. And all the aspirers, I wish you very best because this is going to change your life, the way you look at the world. From a very microscopic region, you will be transferring yourself to a very macroscopic region. So that's a very great experience, and I wish you all the best. And thanks a lot to my mentors for giving me this platform. I'm sorry I have been very, probably very fast because I'm still catching my breath. But yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikita, and we are proud of our alumni. Now I will invite the students and ask you to start the questions, and I will request Daksh and Mayuresh to take the questions from students. Yeah, over to Daksh and students. Yes, Lavisa, please, you can ask the question. Students, you are not audible. Please unmute your mic and then ask question. If you have.
Hello, I'm Tanya speaking. Good morning. Thank you for this informative session. My question is, does the college help building networks over the period of time as they'll be stepping out to work just after that?
Okay, can I take this? Okay, so hi Tanya, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Tanya, building networks is basically somewhat part of, not somewhat, actually the backbone of urban design any which ways. Because what happens is that, let's say that it's not that we work only on a very hypothetical built-in studios which are built just in the rooms. We actually kind of approach a lot of different agencies. We approach a lot of different live works which are happening, or live data collection that we need to do and give our inputs on it as urban designers. We try to take up such kind of projects as well. So, which itself is networking, because what happens is in that kind of setup, you start getting exposure to people you have not actually interacted or met in the classroom, but people in the agencies, and you start building your own nexus and network. And agencies do keep in mind when students are really good at the work. So yes, at this point of time, networking becomes one of the fortes of urban design. So if you are expecting that, oh, whether we will do networking as something where we call up agencies and see whether there are vacancies, that is very primitive way of working as networking. Networking is more to do with how you give work and all these things. Anyways, that is how it is. So
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Any more question, please? Yeah, students. If anyone has question.
Tanya, I would just like to respond further to what Mayuresh has said. Urban design is all about making connections. The way you look at something in isolation, it becomes very difficult for you to really look at the larger picture. So in the course over here, we try to make you look at connections. And also, we also look at where there are gaps between the professions of architecture and planning. So it's all about making connections and filling the gaps. If we don't fill in those gaps, there will be another stream, another discipline which is going to come in and start doing that. And it's unfortunate, but with architecture, this has happened, that we've got master of architecture in a field of conservation. You got the master of landscape architecture. You got master of architecture, urban design. How many of these are actually required? Because I think within the 5 years of you are doing M.Arch, you are actually made to be sensitive to the building which is aging but has some quality. So conservation masters specializing is something which is you can even do, even as an architect, you can do conservation. But the moment you specialize something like this, it becomes difficult for you to really apply that because there's now a specialist category which has come up. In urban design, that doesn't happen. That is why you find it difficult to get work in urban design if you're looking at it from the tangible point of view. So you have to get involved in the intangible aspects. You have to get involved in policy formulation. You have to really think about the human scale. A city plan is good from far, but to live in the city of that plan is far from good. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So as a citizen, you're constantly negotiating your scale in this larger whole. As an urban designer, you are trying to make that scale acceptable and also something that you would be finding qualitatively bettering your environment. So the urban design scale is really trying to bridge those two things. So networking basically in the sense of we are planning to take up projects. We are planning doesn't mean that we are going to step into the planning category. No, we are proposing certain projects around the college. We are going to set up a consultancy cell. And if we do get involved, like Burhan has said, Nikita, see all these students, and there are so many other students who have not been able to join today, but they all have this idea that they want to be connected with the college even after their degree. And we have the alumni group. So we are going to take it further. So networking is something which you initiate. The moment you initiate it, everybody will be there. So we are not having a separate aspect for this. Keep in mind that good from far is not always good when you're down there using that particular space. In urban design, we make sure we start from the bottom up and we go take it right up to the top.
Okay,
Two
sir.
things, common sense and civic sense. Both these things have to be kept alive.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Any more questions, students and aspirants, future urban designers? If you have questions, please take this opportunity to ask. Tanya, you are not audible.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not speaking at the moment.
Okay. So any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanya.
No.
The other people, other students and aspirants, if they have any question, please ask. Please feel free to ask about admission process, teaching methods, or anything else.
I think even we will be continuously sharing information and the dates on our website also and on our other social media handles. So even if there are any queries, you can post it there if you don't have it right now. I think Suhana has raised her hand. Maybe she wants to ask something. Suhana, are you there? So I think, ma'am, it's okay. We can they can share their queries later on, and we will be sharing all the information on our website as and when we get the information. So we can just end this session today.
Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you panelists for joining. Thank you students for joining. And if you have any question, please feel free to get in touch with Professor Daksh and Professor Mrs. Swati Palekar, because they are continuously coordinating with the students, and all the information will also be there on our social media page as well as website. So in future also, if you have any question, please connect with us. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Okay,
Thank you, students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, all the eminent panelists. Thank you, every
Thank
student,
you.
for being a part of this session.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.